Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, I'm going to be talking about Survive This: Dark Places and Demogorgons, which is the core rulebook for this particular RPG, and Dark Places and Demogorgons: The Cryptid Manual, which is a very similar to a monster manual supplement to the game. I recently picked up Dark Places a while ago, along with I got it along with the Kickstarter that I backed. I backed Vigilante City, and I also backed Survive This Zombies 2. So I forget which one I actually got this from, but and then the most recent Kickstarter that Bloat Games had put out was for the Cryptid Manual. So here's the core rule book, and I'll do a very quick preview of the core rule book. So it says in the 1980s, strange things happened everywhere. So it's based, it's based on playing. It's based on playing characters that are high school characters, or perhaps even younger, uh, during in a small town, and there's all these strange things are happening in the 1980s. So you can see what Eric Bloat is kind of tapping into, the popularity of Stranger Things, the Netflix show, but also, you know, um, not that it's solely piggybacking on it, but Stranger Things, the show, kind of piggybacked on what for many of us as older role players. I mean, this was our time period of playing, and so this for me is really capturing the as the TV show did. This really does capture, what it was like to, be, a young teenager in the early 1980s playing role-playing games. And so, I have, this core rule book that's kind of playing into that. And like I said, as I go through the preview, I'll, I'll talk a little bit about the game itself. And then here's the Cryptid Manual, which is, essentially a monster manual, and it adds some additional content and a little bit of story to the core book. So I'm going to switch views very quickly and show you that. So the you know the books are 6 by 9, I believe, soft cover. And I might have actually shown you this preview. Now, the one thing though, when I was reading the introduction, and I came across, the parts where Eric is writing about, these kids' experience in high school, and the way that the teachers are are portrayed in the introduction. I'm like, because I'm a school teacher myself, so I was like, you know, I don't quite remember sucking the soul out of or having like a soul crushing mentality towards the students. So so Eric had pretty rough experiences in school. I'm not sure, but it was funny to read, and it's a pretty cool setting. So the setting is in Jeffersontown, Kentucky, and so but you can obviously create your own background as well, which is something that I'm going to do. I plan on doing. There's a supplement for for the system as well. It's a setting, so Jeffersontown, or J-Town as it's called in the game, and so you can also get that on Drive Through RPG as well. So let's take a little look at the game, and I'll get past this here. So there's a very simple character sheet. I love it. It's straightforward. It's very reminiscent of the kind of character sheets that we used to write up when we were playing, and you kind of ran out of and didn't have access to photocopying the character sheets that we had back in back in the early box sets. I mean, today the technology that we have in our homes today is so far above. I mean, you had to go to a store just to get photocopies, and now it's fairly mundane thing to do right in your own house. So very simple rules. So very old school OSR type of a game. Basic ability scores. You roll six attributes, 3d6 per attribute. Assign them the way that you wish. Strength, intelligence, wisdom, dexterity, constitution, charisma. There's survival points, in the game. I'm not going to go into a real deep delve into the actual rules of the game because this is really going to. I'm going to spend my time with the Cryptid Manual, and I've done a video about this game before. So just really quick, the character classes, and there's others. You can get supplements, on drive-through as well. But the brain, which has subclasses of the kid scientist, the nerd, the geek, an athlete, an outsider, a popular person, kind of the preppy crowd, and a rebel. All right, so basically your very typical, mid 80s or early 80s cliques that you would see in a high school. And so he has pictures here. Probably these are his own pictures. But and then it goes through the different character classes. And you can see, I mean, very simple layout for a character class. Describes it, prerequisite, tribute, what they have at different levels. So at level 1, these are their basic skills. Advancement, so it tells you what they gain at each of the 5 levels. And then their starting gear. And that's pretty much it. I mean, these are the character descriptions, character class descriptions. Doesn't need to be much more than that. And so you just go on down, and you can very quickly create a character and jump right in and start playing. So here's the subclasses. So there's a goth, there's a metalhead, preppy, so it's not just the archetype. There are quite a few subclasses for each one as well. So looks like an advertisement. And then we get into, some basic, stat blocks for basic encounters and such that you can run into. There's an example of play, the Game Master section, and it's based on doing difficulty checks. That's how the skill system works. So you'll have an assigned value that you have to roll higher than, and based on the difficulty setting that the GM would place on something, and then you just make your rolls and see. There's an initiative roll, there's distance, so various distances that will have an impact on your success with, obviously with ranged weapons and such. So it's a fully detailed and yet simple game system, and there are a number of supplements that you can keep on adding to it. And it's fairly easy to, integrate your own ideas and, creatures and such into it as well. So, and that's because of the simplicity of the monster blocks. And he actually has in the book a template where you can create your own. I'll go to, so here's an NPC villain quick generation table. And you go through the randomized random monster generation tables, and so you can pretty much just use these templates to create very quick monsters and also create adventures, basic adventures. So that's, pretty cool as well. This is the detailed section on J-Town, going through and describing it. And again, you can write your own stuff and, you know, um, even following the same kind of format, so it will translate very quickly and easily, and it's some pretty cool stuff. So let's take a deeper look at the Cryptid Manual. So, and I'll give all the shout outs now for this here. So there's a little excerpt, a little backstory behind, the creation of the Cryptid Manual, which is, it's being role played, it's being described, not by the author of this book, not by Eric, but through the voice of a character, and what they went about in creating, this booklet. All right, so it's written by Jody Brandt and Josh Palmer. The concept is by Eric Bloat, edited by both Brandt and Palmer. The art is, it's kind of blurred out over here. They use it kind of like a, things are redacted, just for, the views, for the atmosphere of it. Art by Gilhem. I can't read the rest of it. So, and it goes through the various types of, creatures and monsters and variants within variants, and it's a total of 69 pages of of additional content to the game. So all types of Bigfoots. As I was flipping through just before this, I started reading through the Black-Eyed Children, and the one thing that caught me was the children take 1 point of damage when an opponent makes their terror check against them. So it's like they feed so much on fear that if you succeed in not being afraid from them, it actually causes them damage, and that's a really cool thing. Those are the kinds of things that I've seen in a number of Eric's games that just struck me as being a really interesting take on it. I noticed that with Vigilante City, where I had submitted a character to be included in it as part of the Kickstarter. And what he did with my character was have it where my character was cursed with a shrinking. And, Eric thought to have that continue on instead of the character just having that set size, that over time with each level, the character would continue to lose height, which was something that I wasn't really thinking of, but it's those like minor details in descriptions that I think make his games really unique and enjoyable. So highly recommend this as well. And in the back of this as well, and I'll flip through it, I mean there's many, the artwork is really cool. This is probably like one of my favorite gargoyle images I've seen in a long time. It's simple, and yet it just has so much character to it. I just absolutely am blown away by this thing. I love the fact that it has that symbol, kind of carved into its forehead, and just the way it's just crouching there. Really cool stuff. So and that kind of art is strewn throughout the entire booklet. So let me get to the templates, because once again, this book has templates, and it tells you how to take any creature that might have been listed in the original, and now you can create any creature and make it a dire creature. Make it giant, make it rabid, make it radioactive, make it a werebeast. And then they go through all the various types of werebeasts here that are, generic ones. Make it vampiric. I believe there was make it a zombie version of that, so you could have a zombie direwolf. You can combine up many of these different attributes, and and come up with some pretty unique and and scary kind of bad guys that the characters would have to deal with. The table of weakened cryptids, random cryptid animals. So here are some animals that are also included that you can mess around with, and like I said, twist them with those templates and make them somewhat unique and a little bit more dangerous and a little bit more frightening. So be interesting. An undead vampiric housefly or something like something crazy like that. You can have a lot of fun with this. So I'm really looking forward to playing some of these games and actually integrating some of the different games that I do have from Eric Bloch, because I think they do seem to be like very compatible with each other. So you could be playing this and have your characters from here, maybe with some minor tweaks, and they're dealing with with some of the character classes or some of the creatures that are found in Survive the Zombies, or even in Vigilante City, where you can take a character from here, this is what I'm planning on doing, is I'm going to make a character from here, and then that character will become the character that I have in Vigilante City, and play through that way as well. So once again, I mean, this is really cool stuff. I'm going to switch views. So once again, really cool stuff. I highly recommend Dark Places and Demogorgons and its various supplements. There are also an drive-through RPG. There's a number of supplements. Some of them are kind of like the magazine type type installments. Fairly cheap on that as well. So you can always hit the link in my description for drive-through. You go right to drive-through and you just look up Bloch Games, and you'll find a lot of these things there. And probably even more so than what I've shown, because I came across a few other supplements that I wasn't aware of. And probably shortly I'll have the full collection, and I'll be a happy camper playing this game. So once again, thanks for joining in. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, share it, and I'm trying to get a little bit more reach here, especially with some some games coming out that I want to really blast out there. Bloch Games has the darkest of no, I'm sorry, not the darkest, the blackest of deaths, which was a PDF that I had done a video about two or three videos prior to this one, and was kind of shouting it out there. And that is going to release on a Kickstarter sometime in early April. I want to say April 9th, but I might be a little bit off from that. But certainly look around for it. That's something. That game is really, really cool. I'm waiting. I'm writing an adventure for that I'm hoping to run by next weekend. So that's a really cool game. I'm really excited about playing that. And as soon as that hits the Kickstarter, I'm going to be backing that to get myself a soft cover version of it. So once again, thanks for joining. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I look forward to seeing you on the gaming screen sometime really soon. Have a good day.